welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing off my Peter's Banded Skink enclosure for my Peter's Banded Skink Shikaku. Shikaku I've had for almost 2 months, and by the time you guys watch this, it probably will be over 2 months. But because I've had Shikaku now for a couple months and everything's going really well, I feel confident sharing the enclosure. Before we get started, I'd like to say that the background and a lot of the supplies in this enclosure came from Custom Reptile Habitats. I bought them, but I do have an affiliate link with Custom Reptile Habitats that I like to share, because they're just a really great company, and also I just love to promote their products. So if you're interested in getting anything that's in this enclosure, I will leave a link to it directly down below. Their backgrounds are top notch. Oh my gosh. Before we get started, all I want to say is hit the notification bell, subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and now let's go. So this enclosure was actually originally a fire-bellied toad, yellow-bellied toad paludarium. Actually, it was originally for my white tree frogs, and then it was properly sanitized and cleaned and then used for my fire-bellied toad, yellow-bellied toad paludarium. And then it was used for Shikaku. So it went from being a temperate enclosure with moss to being a paludarium with water and a waterfall section to being an arid enclosure. So it has seen a lot of time. Okay, the background has seen a lot. The enclosure itself has seen a lot. The way that I transitioned it from being a paludarium to a arid enclosure is to take it outside and scrub it clean. I literally had a scrub brush, Dawn soap, and water, and I went to town on the background, I went to town on the sides, on the inside, on the outside. I just cleaned it really well. One issue is the background. I had algae growing on it from the paludarium. That's actually why I wanted to transform it from a paludarium to something else, because the background didn't look good with algae growing all over it. So I was like, nope, not gonna happen. So I scrubbed it really, really hard, and it held up really well against my scrubbing, but it needed a couple touch-ups, which we'll get to in a minute how I touched it up. But it needed a few touch-ups, and it was just looking in a little bit sad shape. So once it was finally cleaned out and dried, then I rinsed it and let it dry again, and then I could get to work. So at that point, all that was left in it was the background and the 2 pieces of faux rock that are made out of the same material as the background on the bottom. The very first thing I had to do was install the side pieces, which I'll put a clip on the screen of here. Basically, there are 2 flat panels made out of the same background material, which you can buy at Custom Reptile Habitats. It's so that you have a background, but also that you don't have clear sides on your tank. One of my biggest pet peeves ever when I'm building an enclosure is the background is glorious, and then there's 2 plain sides. It takes away from it looking like a natural environment to me. And so whenever I do a background, whenever I do anything in my enclosure that has a background, it has to have sides. I cannot do it without sides. So I used these 2 flat pieces from Custom Reptile Habitats. Then I used this little kit that their pieces come with. So it comes with 2 flat pieces for the walls that you can cut to size. It comes with some ledges made out of the same material as the background, so you can put them on the side. And then it comes with silicone, it comes with a little paintbrush, and it comes with these little packets of colored sand and crushed rock that is used to paint the background, so that you can use those to make the exact same background colors on spaces where you fill in with silicone. So for example, when you put silicone on the corners to blend in the background to the side pieces, you cover that silicone with the crushed rock and sand that's colored, so it literally matches your background. It's genius. I love it. It is so much fun. I cannot tell you how much fun I have doing it. I also used it to fill the hole in the background that had been drilled for the waterfall. I also used it to patch up the spots that were beat up from the algae that had grown in the background. I mean, it was just glorious. I love it so much. I can't wait to do it again. I don't know what it is. Something about the silicone and then putting these little rocks on and patting it down. It gives me good feelings. It's like painting, but also kind of a little bit of sculpting, because there's a texture to it. Oh, it's just good. It's just good. So once I had the 2 side pieces in, then I would flip the enclosure on its side so I could put the ledge onto the side. I would just put silicone on the flat part of the ledge and then stick it down, give it 15-20 minutes to cure, and then it's good. It's on there. So again, it'll look like one complete biome. Now, there's this background at Custom Reptile Habitats that I recently showed off in my leopard gecko video. I'll include it up here. But it is a 3D wrap background, and instead of being 2 side pieces and a background, it is one solid piece. and it literally is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I cannot wait to get more of them, but because this enclosure already had a background installed, I just went with the 2 side piece options. However, if I was to start this from scratch, I'd be using that wrap background because oh my god, is it glorious. So in addition to the side pieces and the background, I also had to have washed play sand, I had to have a hide, I had to have decor. And so for decor, I chose weathered Manzanita. Basically how you get weathered Manzanita is you soak parts of it in water. So you take bone dry Manzanita. It's super white when you buy it. It's like really white yellow or white brown. It's a really light colored driftwood. And so you buy it, you soak parts of it in water, and then you like let that go for like weeks. And so part of it will become brown. And when you take it out of the water, it keeps that brown color because of the tannins. And so then you take that piece and you scrub it. And once you scrub it, it creates this really cool weathered look. So that's what I was going for. I had a bunch of pieces like that because of the polydarium, so I just ended up using those. But weathered Manzanita is a really cool touch to an arid enclosure because it just looks like the wood has just been beat down by the sun and the sand for generations and generations, you know what I mean? It just looks really cool, so I went with that option. Now I don't think that Shukaku is ever going to climb those branches. That's really just for extra enrichment, extra visual prettiness, you know, and also to offer a bit of coverage so Shukaku can feel safer in the enclosure. I also used one of the ledges for the side pieces as a hide. I simply cut out the foam on the inside and then cut a little hole in the front to create an entrance. I also had some extra rock pieces that I got from Josh's Frogs. I'll include that link down below, but I put them throughout so it looked like rock was coming up through the sand. And then I also have a water dish from Custom Reptile Habitats made out of the same material as the background, so it looks really cool because it's like just this little like water rock dish. It's really neat. So I have that in there in case Shukaku would like a little drink. I have this succulent that I got from Custom Reptile Habitats, and it comes as like one solid succulent, but there's these little tiny bits that you can like break off, and I liked that because I wanted to spread them around the enclosure as if there was like little succulents like sprouting around the enclosure. So that's what I did for plant decor because I really didn't want a lot of like plants, right? It's a desert. I don't want it to have like a lot of lush, vibrant greens. I just wanted it to be kind of like neutrals, like either a really dark green or a really like yellowy color, or like a brown. And so what I went with was the succulent that I already had from Custom Reptile Habitats, like I just said. For equipment, the enclosure features an Arcadia T5 HO UVB placed on top of the enclosure. It also features a deep heat projector by Arcadia for heat. It also has an under tank heater that's placed below the enclosure. The thing to know about Peter's baited skinks is that they will lay a few inches down into the sand, and so they'll take heat from above and heat from below. Because if you offer multiple inches of sand, the heat from above is only going to heat up like the first couple inches. The heat from below is only going to do like a couple inches at the bottom. So to achieve proper heat throughout, if you offer multiple inches of sand like I have, you should offer heat from below and heat from above. When I was doing research about them, a lot of people offer both, so that's what I went for, and it's working out really well. And that's it. The equipment is pretty easy. It's just, you know, UVB and also heat, you know, simple. The enclosure itself is an Exoterra 36 by 18 by 18, which is a 40 gallon. The sand is just washed play sand, like from the hardware store, that I sifted so I could take out any large rocks or anything that might have been, you know, dangerous. You know, when you buy stuff from a hardware store, it's like you want to make sure nothing's extras in the bag that doesn't need to be in there. So I just hand sifted all of it, which was annoying, but you know, I think I put 2 whole bags in there, maybe a bag and a half. I know I used some of it for the enclosures downstairs, so maybe a bag and a half. I'm really not sure. But it's just washed play sand, very simple. And that's it. We've got the background, we've got the sides, we've got the succulents, we've got the water dish, we've got the weathered Manzanita, we've got the UVB, the heat lamp, the heat from below, the sand, and that's it. Sounds like a lot, but it's actually a pretty simplistic enclosure. And so far, Shukaku has been doing really well in it, so I'm happy to share it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, please let me know by leaving a like or a comment. Also, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Be sure to check out the links below for all the products that are featured in this video. And with all that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!